So I have mentioned yesterday that we have this Open Multimodal AI Benchmark, and we had fun yesterday, and this is our group photo taken in the beautiful conservatory, which you can explore today. It's ours, we book it. Amazon's, you need to wait till we finish. And to support this, actually there's a secret news. We have been going on until yesterday that to support our network's opening of the third workshop in London, the UK government actually signed an agreement with the US to boost the advance in several key areas. And I think this is 31 billion pounds of agreement that was signed yesterday when we are here working together to advance multimodal AI. So you can see that partnership is important, and opportunities are coming more and more, and the question is whether we are ready to take on the opportunities and how we can do that more productively. I will not go through the details of that treaty, which I haven't got time to digest myself, but we can do that after this workshop, and I hope there will be new ideas and new opportunities when we meet the next time. Following Simon's introduction of the TERC, and as I mentioned yesterday, if you study the TERC report, you will find that many of the challenges will need the integration of multimodal data, which are multiple types of data, and also collaboration between experts from different disciplines. And our UKOMAIN is exactly built to serve all the different 8 TERC areas so that we can bring data together more effectively and bring people together more effectively to tackle those challenges. And before we submit the application, we have already a very strong base of community. And we have getting together to discuss what are the ways to move forward. We, through 2 years of hard work, we have crafted this more like our blueprint of deployment-centric multimodal AI workflow, where we consider the problem more, we would say, end-to-end, basically from the beginning of problem definition to the deployment. We look at that, see what we are lacking now. What we are doing well now is the model-centric AI, where thousands or tens of thousands or even more models are proposed every year. And data-centric is also having more and more attention. And but what we think that needs much more attention is about deployment-centric workflow, where we should consider the deployment constraints much early before we formulate the task. Because after you formulate the task, develop your model, and then if you consider the deployment constraint, what if it doesn't work, right? What if it's not ethical? What if it's too expensive to deploy, right? So it will not help us much if we ignore these constraints and only do it as an after source. So we think that as a community, we should consider this constraint much earlier, and we also need to engage with multiple stakeholders and interdisciplinary experts to working together to consider this kind of constraint. Just like yesterday, the second keynote, who is from more social science background, which we are critically lacking in this community, which we should do better. And we also consider the data modality in a much broader sense of basically 4 levels. And because if you talk to different people about multimodal, it may mean different things. If you talk with a radiologist, think, okay, what is multimodal? They will naturally think you are talking about X-ray, MRI, this kind of imaging modalities, right? So, and therefore there are different levels of multimodal. It may be different data types, maybe different subtypes, or maybe we can even view multi-view of the same data subtype as multiple modalities. So basically our definition is very simple. It just analyzes multiple data types. We will consider it as multimodal because we share many of the multimodal AI specific challenges. For example, missing modality. What if you have 3 modalities, but 1 or more of them are missing in the training or in the inference? And secondly, your data from different modalities may be very different in their size, in their quality, and how are you going to bring them together? And alignment, I just talked to Rebecca yesterday, talking at AstraZeneca. They have loads of data. It's very multimodal. I think one of the critical challenges is how to bring those data together and find the alignment. Otherwise, those data are really not delivering the value that they should. And modality complementarity, where we have broadened the definition. Therefore, you can see, actually, if you have, it's possible to have more than 10 or even use your imagination, even 100 different modalities. If you have the different types, different subtypes, different views, different quality, it can be 100. If we have like 10 modalities, do we want to use all of them? Or maybe 3 of them will be enough? Or maybe for certain, like Mohammed mentioned, for certain areas or countries, you may need to use some low-cost modality, but for other scenarios, you may use more high-cost modality. And another one is about multimodal privacy risk. This is really the benefits of bringing someone who is social science background. Actually, we don't have this challenge in the beginning. It only shows up during the paper revision. Then someone pointed out, oh, multimodal is not just benefit, but it also makes it more challenging and more risky, because if I know one piece of your information, it may not be able to identify you, which is anonymized. I just make an analogy with the police, criminal investigation. Right? We watch movies, dramas. Often, if you have just one piece of information about a criminal potential, right? So then usually it's difficult to identify the person. But when you put multiple pieces of evidence together, then you can more easily identify who that person is. So therefore, when you work on multimodal, the risk of identifying someone is become greater, and so we need to keep that in mind. So following what Simon have introduced during the launch of the TERC on 11th of February, that's Simon showed the group photo. Later on, we take another photo over here. And after the launch event, we came to here, actually. After the event, we took a taxi and come to Barbican to view this venue, thinking about to have our first big event since the project was funded in this great venue. And then after that, we went for dinner, and we just think about what are the things we want to do, which I think it's easy to tell that we want impact. Then what we do not want. I think I talked to Pete and other colleagues. I think one of the things I do not want to happen, we said we will support 20 projects. The things that I want the least to happen, right? So I do not want to happen is to create 20 more silos, right? We all know the problem of silos, and we thought we need to be careful not to fund 20 projects that they are silos. But how to do this, right? So our objective is to connect people, connect projects, connect data, connect methods, and innovate not just in technology, but also in the management and strategic planning to do this more effectively so that we can achieve our impact. That's how the OMAIB idea emerged. I think through 1 or 2 months' time, I think we start to have this idea of we will want to put all the feasibility study under one umbrella of Open Multimodal AI Benchmark so that we can move closer to address real-world challenges. And we are open network, and we are big beneficiaries of open source projects like PyTorch, Scikit-learn. I believe you are also benefiting from these open sources. So we know the benefits of an open ecosystem where people can share and build on each other's efforts to achieve the maximum impact. And to add on, I think if you listen to John Jumper, when he talked about the success of AlphaFold, he listed about 20 plus technical advances. Every bit contributes. There's no single bit contribute the most. So if you take any of that out, so he's talking about they have a very tight team, and we build on this incremental advances, but they do it a lot, and that accumulate to the big impact. And we want our benchmark to bring people together from different disciplines, and we want them to collaborate. And we fully understand we are calling for early consideration of constraints. So we are fully aware our resources are limited. We have only 1.8 million in total and only 1 million for the Flexo Fund. Therefore, we strongly encourage the reuse of what's already there. We should leverage what's already there. If the data is already there, why do you want to collect a new one? Right? So if another team is already working on something, why do you want to create it in your team? And if your team already has some strengths, why you don't leverage what you are already strong, and why do you want to work on something else? And we need to ask these questions so that we can deliver the maximum impact that we want. As I said, we want our research to be more deployment-centric and consider the constraints early. And we want our research to be more community-driven because TERC is a community-driven project or program itself. And we want the project to be coordinated efforts rather than silos. And we want to build shared infrastructure on GitHub. And therefore, what we are looking for is different type of benchmarks, including data sets and novel definition of tasks and metrics, how to evaluate. I think naturally it needs to be multi-metric. And what are the baselines? And we will need to align with one or more. You see Simon's beautiful animations. We need to align with one or more TERC areas, and we need to reflect the real-world deployment relevance and share your output openly. And that is why we want you to involve industry and end users, because I said yesterday, industry are born to be deployment-centric. We have 160,000 pounds available, and each project will have up to 40,000 and 50,000 FEC, and your project can be up to 12 months, and we aim to fund 4 to 8 projects. And we do emphasize on cost effectiveness because we want to achieve the impact under the constraints. So the UI expression of interest have a deadline 1 week later, and the full proposal will be submitted 17th of November. And we also will require a video pitch, which, if shortlisted, we will put on our YouTube channel. And we expect the project to start at least by April. There are other timelines which you can find on our website, such as notification of UI, etc. And of course, we need applicant to satisfy the eligibility criteria of UKRI. We will require at least one industry partner in the terms of support letter. It can also be an email as long as it's authentic, right? We don't need a contract, we don't need the legal, we understand ourselves how tedious that can be. And we want you to show your engagement with end users, and we want you to be open, share the data, willing to share the data and code with the community. And we prefer to have those, we mentioned about leverage, we will prefer to have those with experience in benchmarking, building, and open research. And the criteria, we have set quite a few criteria. This is, we want to let the committee know clearly what are the project that we want to see. Is it need to be relevant to the TERC and deployment needs. You need to deliver scientific value and innovation, and it need to be feasible and cost-effective, and you need to demonstrate the potential impact and the kind of level of reuse of existing resources. We want you to see your engagement with community, either planned or existing, and how open you are. And of course, you need to be multimodal in the sense of diverse and inclusive. And the TERC report is a great resource, and I think it's 2 years effort, right, from 2021. 2 years effort. I learned that it has consulted much bigger committee from like CXO to PhD student. You look at the list, lots of people's efforts are there. So this is the workshop output in the Appendix B about the technology challenges. And if you look at that, for example, for space, they include lots of details. I don't expect you to read the text, right? I'm just saying that there's for each area, there's only 2-page summary and nothing more. Just 2-page summary. It includes the stakeholder perspectives, what are the barriers, and what we need in order to enable us to solve these challenges, which I think should be the focus of your proposal to tackle some of these problems. And similarly, our community also getting together and crafted a blueprint of our more deployment-centric multimodal AI. In that page, that's also a 2 years work with 40+ co-authors, mainly from this community. And in that perspective, we have 1 page of strategic recommendations of what we at the committee think are the important actions that we can take. Some of that actually is quite interesting, because I also attended other events that when we talk about deployment-centric, and some people will blame the editors, but actually, for example, that's a recommendation on the first column, right? But who is shaping the publication culture is actually us. We are the reviewers, right? So if we think more about deployment when we review papers, that will also help to shape the research culture in our community. So I welcome you to explore that 1 page in the paper if you have time and interest. And I understand we have set quite some conditions, eligibility. I know that will make many people uncomfort, because that's not what you are used to do or what you plan to do. But what we are doing is exactly to encourage you to walk out of your comfort zone, to explore some thing that you have never explored before. For example, talking to someone from industry and talking to end users. And that is important now for us to get people connected and get innovation created and have our impact to be grown out of our community. So therefore, our research and OMAIB is really a team sport. I don't expect proposal to be to be from a single entity, although we can't rule out brilliant ideas of there, but I would like to say the likelihood of that to align with our criteria is low. And the good thing about the difference between our research and football is football, the outcome is either winning or losing. But for us, I think there's nothing to lose, because even if you didn't get the funding, you will get your network, your connections, your understanding of the real world problem, and that is basically what I have benefited the most from a failed fellowship application, where I approached one of the partners in the fellowship application. I said, okay, I didn't get a fellowship, but I still want to do the research. Can we work together? And then he said yes. That leads to our collaboration with AstraZeneca and have our first Nature Machine Intelligence paper done by Peijing, who was here yesterday and working now with Rebecca. So talking about stepping out of comfort zone, that's also a picture I showed yesterday. I bring the team not to an AI conference, but we go to a computational biology or computational or bioinformatics conference. I learn a lot from there. One of the words I learned is cooperation. That is where I do not want you to see each other, people putting up proposals, as competing with each other. I would like you to think about we are sharing the best we have, our ideas, and we are learning from each other. And we are actually collaborate and cooperate in a certain sense, because once we build this kind of infrastructure and the set of examples, everyone in the community will be better off. And of course, you will work on your downstream, right? So there will be different directions that you can take. But what we need is more this mentality of more collaboration and cooperation and co-opetition. And that's it. Welcome you to consider this opportunity. And we will have 3 rounds, of course. So if you don't have time to submit for this one, no problem. We will have further announcement for the future rounds. And this is an experiment ourselves. So we also need to learn from that process and make it better. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you very much to Haiping for introducing the multimodal AI in depth and our funding opportunities. We can have no more than 2 questions.
May I ask Anna to just get ready for our next Pete, can you bring Anna downstairs so that we can get ready?
Good. Hi, Ping. Fantastic opportunity, obviously, for everyone to get involved. I'm curious. So there's a side, obviously, related to the work itself, the building the data set, coming up with the challenge. And there are components probably people won't be able to do that particular approach, want to engage, want to kind of get something out of it. So what I'm trying to get at is, if you look at Kaggle, they have the examples of, people who can win, get the data set, but they have a lot of community-driven tools, community-driven kind of information and kind of best practices. And I'm curious, what is is there an approach to kind of capture some of that, whether it's on the website or whether it's some other way of kind of getting additional tools and information that perhaps if we don't get to the stage of, in terms of submitting for expression of interest, but still want to get something out of it, the whole ecosystem?
Yeah, thank you. That's a great question. We do have plans in the place. For example, training is one of our mission, right? So we will definitely, what our plan is to invite those successful examples of successful benchmarks later on to share their experience. But we cannot afford to have the first call after that. We want to see what's already there out of the community. Therefore, we only have allocated a small amount of the whole funding to see out there. Then after that, our plan is to have more focused talks to invite people, for example, mimic, right? So other like CAS or other kind of TCGA, or we try to get those people with successful example to come here to share with us and to help our committee understand how to better develop a benchmark that, for example, many of them on categories, so to know what are the best way and to learn from them so that we can do better. That's in our plan. We will announce it later. Yeah. Thank you, Mike. Yeah. Maybe I should stop here and move on because I think
okay.
we have been
Thank you very much.
over time. You can always talk to me after during break. All right. Thank you.